What is up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by Parks Casino, Bet Parks, right now on the Bet Parks app. Eagles down to 2-point favorites over the Buccaneers on Sunday. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, Cowboys minus 5.5. We'll talk about that game, and we'll get into some Eagles conversation coming up here in a little bit on a Thursday morning. Good morning to everybody that's watching live on YouTube. All our chatters on there. Good morning, Roku TV. Hello. And if you're watching whenever, because you can do that, you can listen on our podcast feed, which is put out there every morning. Tyler gets it out there shortly after 9 o'clock. If you want to listen to the audio version of the show, or of course on YouTube, whenever you would like. What's up, everybody? And I want to thank the Phillies, because if you're a listener of me or a viewer of the show, I've made it abundantly clear that the Phillies give me extreme anxiety. And to be able to clinch, wrap up a first-round bye, and if they get the 1 seed, that's awesome. But the fact they don't have to play in that first round and they're going to get the bye, even though it hasn't worked out in recent years for some of these teams, is still very important. They didn't play with their food. They're not messing around. They came out last night. They scored a lot of early runs. Game was essentially over. Boom, they got the win. And then as the game was ending, the Phillies, the Brewers end up losing the game. We'll play you that coming up here in a second. But the Phillies get a bye, which was a relief, because now I don't have to fret. I don't have to worry if they lose a game. Now I'm thinking oh my God, now Wheeler has to go deeper into the game. Noah has to go deeper into the game. So it's nice to be able to know that the Phillies, at the very least, are not going to have to play in that opening round, and they will get started here. I think it's next Saturday and Sunday. So not this Saturday and Sunday are the games, but the NLDS starts on Saturday and Sunday, which is awesome. So looking forward to that. Really an excellent win last night. And really, it kind of shows you how this team is going to win. They have the offense can be potent when it needs to be potent, streaky a little bit, but guys were hitting home runs last night. Starting pitching, bullpen. If you're a Phillies fan, you got to be pretty excited and pretty happy right now. But how does this team stack up with the two previous teams? All right, 2022, where they're in the World Series. And by the way, not only in the World Series, I was broadcasting at Citizens Bank Park with the Phillies up 2-1, thinking that this team was going to win a World Series. A side note, I had said in spring training, I had told Bryce Harper in spring training that if the Phillies won the World Series that year, I would get Bryce Harper's face tattooed on my back next to Nick Foles. Now, up 2-1, and I'm getting interview requests from blogs and from industry sites saying oh my God, are you really going to do this? I was having conversations with my wife, and she was saying, you're not going to do this. Anyway, they lost, and I didn't have to worry about it. But that was a really good team. And then last year, I would have told you that it was a really good team up until Game 3 of the NLCS against the Diamondbacks. That bullpen was weak. I liked the lineup right up until the last couple games of the series, where they went ice cold. Starting pitching was good, not great. So Topper last night, after the win, after they clinched the first round bye, he was asked about this team and how it stacks up with the other teams. Here's Topper last night, courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia.
I think it's very good. I mean, anything can happen in the playoffs, but this is a really good team. This is the best team we've had since I've been here. I think there's great balance as far as our offense is good. When we don't chase, when we get the ball, swing at strikes and use the entire field, our offense is really good. Our rotation obviously is good, and we've got an extremely deep bullpen. So, I really love this club. I really do. And they're tough and resilient, and they prepare and they compete every day. And I trust them.
Yeah, so the offense obviously has a ton of star power on it, and when they're producing and they're hot, they're one of the best offenses in baseball. But I can't sit here and tell you that I look at this offense as kind of like how Rob Thomson described it right there, like, oh, well, we don't chase, and like, yeah, sometimes you don't, right? But when you hit home runs and you score the majority of your runs with home runs, what happens in October when it gets a little bit chilly out, or maybe you're in an environment where game time it's 50 degrees. And I used to talk about this with the Phillies teams back when they made the run with Ryan Howard and Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins and those guys, because they lived and died by the long ball as well. That when you're not hitting home runs, you have to be able to produce without going long. And teams shown they could do that this year a little bit, but they're at their best when they're slugging the ball. So I still have worries about going cold in the playoffs because I don't know if they're going to make adjustments. They were slow to make adjustments last year. It cost them a World Series appearance. So, but besides that, the starting rotation, Zach Wheeler, boom. Chris Sanchez, boom. Aaron Nola, boom. We talked to Tom McCarthy yesterday on the show. He jumped on. He said that his feel was that Topper is leaning Aaron Nola as the second starter. But he doesn't have to make up his mind just yet because you don't know who you're playing because that's going to be decided in the opening round. So he's not going to make a decision yet. But he believes that the lean right now is towards Aaron Nola as the number 2 starter, which, I mean, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world unless he got shelled at home or if Sanchez came out on the road and pitched poorly. But it is, it'll be interesting to see how they line up that rotation. And then the bullpen. This bullpen, Estevez, who is now your 9th inning guy. Maybe not every opportunity out there, but for the most part, it seems like that 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, they're going to go with him. I'm comfortable with him in the 9th inning. He's not flawless. He's ran into some problems in innings. He manages to wiggle out. But your 8th inning guys, Jeff Hoffman, I love watching him come in and pitch. He's intimidating. He's such a big dude. Kerkering in the 7th inning. Alvarado kind of as a 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning guy, depending on where you need a high leverage power arm. And then you have Matt Strom. And then you have other guys that we're not even mentioning that are still good relief pitchers. I agree with Topper. This is a team that is primed and poised to make a run at the World Series. Jeff Passan was on Pat McAfee yesterday, and McAfee asked him, "Well, who's the best team in baseball right now?" He said the Phillies, and he's been on that train the last couple of weeks or last couple of months here, where Passan looks at everything that we just talked about with the starters, with the bullpen, and with the lineup, and the Phillies are the best team, the best built team to make a run and win the World Series. Tyler Zulli joins us. Who were you on post game duties last night?
No, I got. Game? You know, it's funny. I got to actually sleep last night. It was wild. I got a full night's sleep. It was crazy.
Look at you.
No, we did not have post game last night. We will have post game on Friday. Which, by the way, Friday might not mean a darn thing. So we may just be talking to ourselves on Friday night, but we'll be there.
But you're also like, this is when the playoff talk will start to heat up. There's going to be a lot of rotation talk right now. Are they going to carry an extra pitcher? Are they going to carry an extra bat on the postseason roster?
Yeah, we talked about that a lot yesterday on the pod at 11. Like, is it going to be, do you go with a Cody Clemens and a Weston Wilson? Do you add an extra arm? And if you do, who is the extra arm? Because quite frankly, their pitching's good, but like you get to 11 and you go, okay, that's enough. You don't really
have a guy.
That's enough. I mean, it's not enough numerically, but it's enough for what they have.
Yeah.
The 12th guy is a stretch to begin with. To go to a 13th guy, I'm not so sure they do.
No, I don't disagree. There doesn't seem to be somebody that I would even care for them to have on the roster. But so will you be taking celebration selfies after the game on Friday night?
I think I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to sit in my living room and not take the selfies.
Okay. So you're not going down to Washington to take selfies?
No, I'm actually going to be in my living room. So the only objection to doing the show is my gremlin cat, who is now in goblin mode because she's like...
You're a cat guy?
So I'm not. I'm a dog guy through and through. We've had a dog for... she's 9 now. My wife found a cat in a bush about 4 months ago, so we have a cat now. So the cat is in gremlin mode because she's...
So hang on, back up. Hang on, back up for a second.
Oh, you want to have this conversation?
Well, we can do the abbreviated version. Yeah. She found a cat in a bush?
Yeah, so she had the dog out one night. She was walking the dog. And she calls me and goes, "Hey, I need your help." And I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "My dog's name is Kaya." She said, "Kaya chased a cat into a bush." And I said, "Okay, what do you want me to do about it?" She goes, As she's calling me, as she's walking through the front door, she's like, I need you to grab the cat. It's in my arms. What? So we've had this cat. We tried to find its owner. No chip.
I bet.
No chip because it was a baby, like a baby when we found it.
Oh, it was a little kitten.
Oh, it was probably 4 weeks old when we found her.
So it probably abandoned the
That's what we're worried about. That's how that happened.
Aw.
So we took her in and we got her shots and whatnot. We were kind of deciding on if we're going to keep her or not. And
now you're screwed.
My wife fell in love with her. We gave her a name. She's ours now.
Right.
But she's in. I say she's in like goblin mode because she's in that like terrorizing 4, 5, 6 month range that animals get into, where they have like raptor teeth and run around like crazy. So that's where we're at. That's the biggest issue I face with post-game shows is that she's going to jump on my laptop while I'm doing the show.
Cat's going to claw you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, you see, you should have, the accurate description is you found a kitten
Correct.
in a bush.
Correct.
Because the kitten will turn into a cat, and that's when you won't want it anymore. When they're kittens, they're cute. I agree. It would have been hard for me not to take a 4-week-old kitten. I would have done the same thing.
She's very loving. I will tell you that. When she's not in crazy mode, she's very loving.
Well,
but the point being is, no, I will not be at the ballpark taking selfies.
All right. Well, there you go. Tyler's coming up with an update. He'll give us everything from last night. Herb from Northeast Philly scheduled to join us here in studio around 8:30. There was, I guess, a big accident on 95. Herb texted me like an hour and 15 minutes ago saying he's on 95 and it's a parking lot. So Herb has gotten off the exit. He's trying to weave through. So we're hoping he's able to make it here to jump on at 8:30. So everybody needs a little Herb. For everybody out there,
95 was a disaster this morning at 6:30. So I can't imagine now what it's like.
It was he said there was an accident or something. I don't know. He may have put on KYW to get the traffic on the twos. So we hope Herb drops by. We'll play Ask Herb. I'll try to intro him to the people that maybe don't know who Herb is. If you're not a WIP listener to my show or a sports radio listener, you may not be familiar with Herb. It's hard to describe unless he was here. Other than, can you pop up a picture right now? Last Friday, he was in Brazil, or 2 Fridays ago, he was in Brazil, and he starts sending me these text messages while I'm on the air. And when I get off the air, and I'm like, what is he sending me? And they're pictures. So the first picture is that. Like, why is he sending me that? And he sent me other pictures too. So he's trying to show me his bathing suit. He apparently bought this designer bathing suit that he was very proud of, which I don't like. He's talking on the radio about the bathing suit. That wasn't a conversation. I'm like, yeah, Herb, whatever. I don't care. So then he sends me this picture. And this is where I start to wonder what's going on with Herb. Like, is he shooting his shot? What's up with Herb? What's he doing? And there's another one that we won't put up there. But there's Herb shirtless. Why, Tyler? Why would he send me a shirtless picture? And he has the Star of David around his neck, and he also has what looks like a vial. And Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie at one point when they were married, they had vials around their neck with each other's blood in the vial.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I think Herb may have my blood in his vial around his neck, based on him sending me a shirtless picture.
Here we are. Happy Thursday.
So Herb may or may not have a shirt on. He'll join us coming up here in a little bit.
Oh, no, it's a requirement. He's got a shirt on to be on the show today.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but that's the one stipulation we did put in.
And Alexa, poor Alexa, who is sitting in on the show today.
You picked a bad show to.
She's going to have to go down and grab Herb and bring him up in the elevator. So we will require a shirt on Herb because we will not do that to Alexa. All right, Tyler, a lot happened last night. Let's get to the headlines here this morning.
Yeah, sure did. And, of course, our headlines are brought to you by our friends over at Glatt Hair Restoration because bald is now optional. And if you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. So you can regain your confidence and by visiting glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980 4,000 to get started today. And sorry about that. Trying to do about a million things and get Herb out of the shot and get me back into it. But let's start with the Phils last night. As you mentioned, the Phillies do win. They win this game 9-6. Kind of a weird game, John. A lot of back and forth. Didn't have much of a vibe to it. It just felt like a game that was being played. Yeah. And the Phillies jump out to an early 3-0 lead. And I'll be honest with you, I forgot it was an early start last night. It was like 6:20. I turned the TV on. And I'm like, let me catch the end of postgame on NBC Sports Philly, and then we'll get to the game at 6:40. And I look up, and it's 3-0.
3-0, yeah.
And I went, what just happened? So the Phillies jump out to a 3-0 lead, and after that, it felt like two teams that were just playing a game to play a game. There wasn't a whole lot of urgency to it. which was unfortunate because the Phillies, as we made mention, were still chasing a bye. You know, the magic number was 2, but the Phillies do win this one. Christopher Sanchez was okay. Took a lot of deep counts, a lot of 3-2 counts. I think he had 6 3-2 counts in this one. Ran his pitch count up. He was okay. Ends up giving up a couple of earned runs. One was unearned on the 17th error by Trey Turner. Bryson Stott had an error, which was uncharacteristic of him. But they win this game. So that's the step number 1 is the Phillies win 9-6. The magic number to clinch the bye is now 1. And as this is going on, as post-game is happening and T-Mac and John Kruk are talking to Brandon Marsh, they get the sense that the Brewers are about to lose as well. So on the air, on NBC Sports Philadelphia and the Phillies broadcast, they're talking to Brandon Marsh, and they're basically talking through the final out of the Pirates-Brewers game.
And the game's up on the board.
And they have the game up on the Jumbotron in Citizens Bank Park. I thought this was a really cool moment to kind of get a reaction from Brandon Marsh live. So this was on NBC Sports Philadelphia the moment the Phillies found out not only did they win the game, but they are also going to get the bye, and they're going to clinch at least the 2 seed.
Just wanted to come on here and just say a couple of things just on behalf of the teammates of mine.
Well, nope, that's the wrong one. We'll get back to that in just a second. That was Brandon Marsh talking about his that was pregame. He was on the air, which was equally cool. I thought he did a really good job on that as well. But here is Brandon Marsh postgame.
Well, we're just 1 out away for maybe getting the bye. We'll see what happens in that Brewers-Pirates game.
I know. Yeah. Watch it up top right now.
Up on the big video board.
Throw him out.
Well, they got a chance to throw him out. Oh, he's out. Well,
let's go.
Congratulations on that. Well, I think we have 2 more outs. 2 more outs.
Oh, man. That would have been sick.
Wait, is that 2 outs or 3 outs?
That's 3. Let's go.
That's 3. That's the game.
How about that? How about the timing of that call?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, we need
By the way,
these
big
jobs,
thanks to
man.
Willie Giannis for trying to stretch out a single into a double.
That was good, though.
Nobody better.
That was good.
Down a run.
All right, so what's
Ending
that
the
mean
game.
to
You can't
have
be
at least one of the buys going in? I mean, you guys have been, obviously playing as the wild card the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's huge. Huge for our arms. Wheeler, Nola, Sanchi, Ranger. Huge for all those guys just to get them another little series off. Some more treatment, all that stuff. So that's a great feeling. I think that's what everyone's celebrating.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah, he's a good fit for this city. He is. He enjoys playing baseball. He enjoys the rowdiness of the crowd. He's a good Philly.
And he gets. I think he deserves a lot of credit for the September turnaround that he's put together, because he was dreadful at the back end of July and the early portions of August. His strikeout rates was closing in on 40% of his at bats, or his plate appearances for that matter. He's done a really nice job. His swing path has become a little bit cleaner. He's striking out a whole lot less. He's hitting lefties at a better clip than he was at the beginning of the season. Tip of the cap to Brandon Marsh, because they needed him. We talked about Austin Hayes yesterday and what he's going to provide. I think that this is a really encouraging sign to see Brandon Marsh succeeding the way that he has over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, right now 254, 16 homers, 60 RBIs. I recently I don't get in the social media beefs or go back and forth with people.
You? No.
I do. I absolutely do not. Now the Missinelli thing, he's all mad about being called out about putting Jamie's name out there. But anyway, but whoever handles social media for the Good Fight, which is is it an SB Nation Phillies blog, the Good Fight?
I'm not sure who they're affiliated with.
PH. But I
think they do a really good job, though.
Yeah, I read their stuff. There's a reason why I follow them on Twitter. They're a good site. And whoever they put out this tweet being like, no one's talking about this trade anymore, and it was O'Hoppe versus Marsh in the stats. And I had responded back saying it's kind of odd that you're comparing those two, because really what I look at it, I don't compare Marsh to O'Hoppe. I'm comparing what else they could have done with O'Hoppe, or if you shouldn't have moved off of JT Realmuto, which they weren't going to do. If you have O'Hoppe, the only thing you can do is you put JT at a different position, which doesn't make sense, or you put O'Hoppe at a different position, which I guess you could make the case. But trying to compare him to Marsh, to me, didn't make sense. And it was really kind of a shot at Marsh, oh, look what you got for this great young catcher, because he's good. O'Hoppe's really good. He has big numbers.
He's going to be a good player for a while. Here's the thing. I think comping them is always going to happen because they were traded effectively 1-for-1 for each other, right? So it's always going to be the case that you're going to comp these two guys together. O'Hoppe's had a really nice year. he would have also been roadblocked by JT Realmuto for at least 4 or 5 seasons. So would it be nice to have a future catcher waiting in the wings? Because, JT is getting a little bit banged up. He's getting a little older. He's probably on the back 9 of his Phillies career. Of course it would. But in the moment, the comp is fair because they were traded for each other, but it's not the exact comp that I would consider.
It's a shallow comp. Obviously, they were traded for each other, but why are you comparing the 2 players to it? Like I said, if anything, the discussion is should you have traded him and shouldn't you have waited? Like at this point with Ohapi, he needs to be a major league regular.
Correct.
I mean, offensively, he's better than JT Realmuto is right now. So he's not going to be a part-time player. Is there another position that he could have played or anything like that? I mean, that's really the discussion.
So are you asking, is the more fair question, could they have gotten more value for Logan Ohapi?
Yes, honestly, that's the real question. But then again, I don't know what else they were offered. I don't know what prospects they were major league. We don't know. I never looked at it I never ever looked at it and said, oh my God, like Brandon Marsh against Ohapi. Like, yeah, maybe they didn't get enough back for him. They got a starting center fielder on a team that has the second best record in the National League right now, who has 16 home runs and 254 batting 254. It could be a lot worse if they got a major league ready center fielder, left fielder that's not making a lot of money, right? He helps with the payroll as well. So I mean, would I have liked a star player back for a young catcher who looks like a future all-star? Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to get everything back for him, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to put out there for me. That's all I'm
understood.
saying.
Real quick before we get out of here and we get to our first ad reads, just a quick update on the wild card standings. The Dodgers are a half game up on the Phillies. They'll play tomorrow. They'll play today. Phillies are idle today before the 3-game series in Washington. The Dodgers will play the Padres today. Brewers obviously have clinched the Central, but they did lose last night, so that is why the Phillies are going to be the 2 seed. The Padres are the only wild card team who has clinched the playoff spot. They lose last night. They're 3.5 up on the Braves. The Braves are a game back of the Diamondbacks for the final wild card spot. The Mets and the Braves are into an interesting situation because Tropical Storm or Hurricane Helene, whichever it's going to be when it makes landfall, is wreaking havoc in Atlanta and the surrounding areas. They didn't play last night. They're not playing today. Now there's going to be a doubleheader on Monday to determine where or what seed any of those 2 teams end up being in the playoffs. I got to be honest. I don't feel for Mets or Braves fans because they're Mets and Braves fans.
Right.
I do feel for Mets and Braves fans, though, because now you are at a larger disservice by having to make these 2 games potentially matter when you know that the playoffs are going to start on Tuesday.
Has the potential of being an awesome Monday if you're a baseball fan and these 2 games actually matter.
So the issue,
how they matter.
The issue, too, is the Mets were the Mets were on the road. Then they've got to go to Atlanta. And then whoever wins this game or wins those 2 games in the series potentially may end up having to go back to Milwaukee, in the span of 48 hours. It's going to be a weird 48 hours for these 2 teams.
Yep. And I'm with you. Wah. Deal with it.
No, I mean, I do feel bad. It's unfortunate that a 162-game season comes down to a doubleheader that shrinks your
the day after the season's
rotation, even further than it. It's not like it's game 163, right? Remember when the Padres and Rockies played a game 163?
Yes.
To determine the NL West. It's not a 163. It's just an unfortunate circumstance of weather delays. This could have been handled better by Major League Baseball. I think they should have probably postponed these games earlier in the week. But I do feel bad to an extent that these teams are going to be kind of hamstrung with at least one of them making the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Herb is he's on, I don't know where he is. He's back on 95. So if he's going to be here, it's probably going to be later in the program.
Did he get off of 95?
Let me see. It says moving 95. I guess he got off of 95 and then he came back around on 95. So he'll probably be here towards the end of the show. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about Bet Parks and the Bet Parks app, an online casino. Man, the best. I was on there this morning. I'm like, all right, what do I think about this game tonight? So check it out. Cowboys minus 5.5 over the Giants. Almost seems too easy to take Dallas, but I'm going to anyway. But I love this. Dak Prescott over 299.5 passing yards, and that's plus 265. I think, like, if you look at what's been going on with Dallas, CeeDee Lamb had bad body language and everything else, and he had to come out and apologize and said he's going to do better. Big loss last week by the Cowboys. They get mauled at home by the Saints, and the Giants won last week. So I think they respond in a big way. I would take Dallas -5.5. Eagles -2. This is really interesting because it's been bet down a little bit. I would suspect by game time it gets down to a point. The Bucs are minus a point. So I would wait. If you like the Eagles in this game, I would wait and see where that line goes. By the way, the weather's not supposed to affect the game on Sunday. If you're trying to get into Tampa either today or tomorrow, good luck, but it's supposed to be cleared out by Saturday, and I think by Sunday it's going to be totally fine. So weather will not be a problem for the game. But listen, that's what you get when you go to the BetParks app right now. It's the only app that I use. It's what I recommend, and right now they're offering a 50-1 odds boost on your pick to win this year's Pro Football Championship. So all new users who sign up and make a deposit will receive a 50-1 super odds boost. BetParks.com has all the terms and conditions. Check them out. And, of course, like when you're watching all the football action, listen, go over to their online casino. You can bet blackjack, roulette, craps with a live dealer right there on the BetParks app. So check them out. Limited time offer for new customers only. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, well, there you go. Let's talk about, we got Rite Aid here for a second. Yeah, we got Rite Aid. I feel like I say this every show that I talk about Rite Aid because pretty much I'm in Rite Aid every day. Getting everything that I need as it's cold and flu season that's coming up. We're ending allergy season. All the over-the-counter medications, the shampoos, the conditioners, the shaving, razors, everything that you need. My local Rite Aid, my Royersford Rite Aid, is where I go. But also right now, listen, if you have a lot of prescriptions, you have a family, maybe you're a little bit older and you have a lot of medications, right now, Rite Aid makes it so easy for you. So easy for you right now. Just get in the Rite Aid app or just talk to your pharmacist. My Pharmacy account. You can refill your prescriptions, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for prescription notifications. Get started, riteaid.com/mypharmacy. You can enroll in automatic courtesy refills. It's free and easy, and most of your prescriptions will qualify. So talk to your pharmacist or sign up through your My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. You can download it from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Transfer or refill your prescription, set up medication reminders, enroll in prescription notifications, all of that and more. Just head to your local Rite Aid. And if you want to transfer prescriptions, it's very easy. riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacist, ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Check them out. Rite Aid. Restrictions do apply. But let's talk about this for a second. I don't know how much. I'm a pretty big college football fan. I know Tyler's the same way. We're in a pro football town, so I don't know. We're not an SEC country or anything like that. But I love college football, and I actually kind of follow UNLV. My brother-in-law lives in Vegas. So I've been to a UNLV game before. I have a friend who works in radio in Vegas, and he's the sideline reporter for Running Rebels football, and he does stuff with the basketball team. So I pay attention to UNLV, which, by the way, they're never good usually in football. Tyler, the most famous UNLV football alum is who? And in particular, it's a Philadelphia connection.
The most famous UNLV alum.
The most successful UNLV running rebel. He was drafted in the second round by the Philadelphia Eagles. He was an All-American punter while at UNLV, but he also was a quarterback.
The only punter who played quarterback I can think of is Tom Tupa. And I know, obviously, that's not
Danny White,
right.
Once upon a time, the Cowboys quarterback, also punted, which I thought was the weirdest thing as a kid.
I don't know the answer to this question.
Randall Cunningham.
Oh my gosh! You know what? How did I forget Randall went to UNLV? That's so bad on my part.
Well, yeah,
so bad on my part.
You gotta hit the books then.
You would. I mean, listen. I'm pretty good with college pro connections. I don't know how I forgot that one.
Well, because no one thinks of Randall as they think of him as an Eagle, not UNLV. Anyway, UNLV is 3-0 this year. They're ranked. I mean, this is a football program that is brutally bad over the course of however many years, right? So they start the season 3-0. Matthew Sluka, who was a quarterback who transferred in from Holy Cross. Holy Cross. Transferred in as a fifth-year senior. They started 3-0, and he announced that he is leaving the program, taking his red shirt, not playing anymore. So if he would have played past this game, he would have no more years of eligibility. And he's doing it because he says he was offered $100,000 to come and play for the Runnin' Rebs. And Herb texted me and said he'll be here in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So this is the first case that I'm sure we're going to see many cases in the future, but this is the first time we're actually seeing it where in season a player is saying, hey, I need to be paid. I haven't been paid. Now, the school's position is that there was never a formal offer for $100,000 for him. And I think they offered him like $5,000 on 4 different occasions. There was like $3,000 payments or something like that. But the agent of this kid is saying, no, we were verbally offered $100,000 by the offensive coordinator. UNLV is saying like, well, he doesn't have the authority to offer $100,000. So I don't like, he said, she said, who do you believe? UNLV coming out and saying, well, he didn't have the authority to do it. So are you saying he didn't offer $100,000? You know what I mean, Tyler? If the offensive coordinator verbally offered him $100,000, I would say that's a verbal offer to come and play.
So here's the thing. That's kind of, I think that may be the holdup to this question is, does a verbal offer hold legality? I don't know the answer to that question, right? So
I don't think he can sue, but he can leave, which is what he did.
It's certainly within his right. He could have left regardless, I would assume. Now, he would have broken contract if there was actual payment.
That's the difference.
If there was actual like legitimate payment to it, he would have broken contract. But I don't know the answer to that question if it's a verbal agreement. I think that this is kind of a murky situation where
for sure,
it's shady by the people paying to not pay up if they did agree. It's also unclear whether Sluka can actually recoup his money if there's no written contract. I don't know. Like I am 99.999% of the time on the side of the players. Get your money, you deserve it. Your coach is bailing you all the time. You should get your money and be able to leave too. But in this particular instance, I don't know if if it's applicable.
So I consider myself somewhat of a legal scholar, Tyler. I've watched a ton of people's court.
That's right. You did tell me you are a detective, a lawyer.
I like first 48.
Yeah.
Judge Mathis got a little bit crazy at the end there, so I didn't watch Judge Mathis. But legit, I used to DVR people's court, and then I would watch it with Judge Milian. Then I would watch it when I was doing dishes or cooking or whatever. Love it. So verbal agreements are still an agreement. In this case, he's not going to be suing and winning anything in court. That's not going to happen. I'd be shocked if that happened. But he did decide to leave. And the real thing for me is that, this isn't the kid's fault. I'm not even going to blame UNLV. This is the freaking wild, wild west. All right? Herb's actually calling me right now. Should we take the call in the air? Let's do it. Hold on, Herb. Herb, I have you on speaker. Are you here?
I'm a couple blocks away.
Yeah. All right. So would you like us to come to? I don't want to send somebody down until you're actually here in case you get lost. So why don't you send me a text message when you're in the parking lot, and then I'll send somebody down for you. All right.
All right, you got it.
All right, Herb.
I'm making it right on 9th Street now.
All right, buddy. All right. So he's probably going to be here shortly. But like this is the NCAA's problem, and like they weren't looking to do this. They got sued and they lost, obviously. So they got to try to figure this out. But in the meantime, so if this kid's worth $100,000, and I don't know if anybody he's not a good passing quarterback. His completion percentage was 43% this year. He's more of a running quarterback. He's a classic college quarterback. And honestly, if I was a school like Temple or any of the Mountain West schools, or you know what I mean, like a school like UNLV, I wonder how much this guy in modern college football, Tyler, is worth. Because one of the things that's being said out there is that they started 3-0, and this is when an agent got involved, and that's when the agent's like, no, you owe us $100,000. So there also is the side of he was never offered $100,000. They started 3-0, and that's when a power play happened. Like, hey, you want to keep us? You want to win this season, you got to pay us, which is also a strong possibility of something that happened.
And I will say this too. I've seen it circulating on Twitter, and tweets can only go as far as what you see on the surface value sometimes. But it does appear to me that a lot of the UNLV teammates of his are not on his side.
Correct.
They are excited about the backup being the starter now. I don't know if it's because of a low completion percentage. I don't know if they just dislike the guy. I don't know the personal relationships between these guys.
They probably barely know him. When did he come to Nevada? In like August?
I would assume probably for camp, right?
So he's been there a couple months and he's already bailing. That would piss me off too.
So I think that, it probably speaks a little bit of volume to say that some of his teammates are not in the foxhole with him, if you will.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know the right answer to this situation. It's a weird scenario because both sides could be at fault, or maybe in this instance, neither side is at fault. I don't know the answer to this question.
I think it's and without knowing the actual details, it's tough to really know. But if this is probably this last kid, played 4 years at Holy Cross. This is now he's at UNLV and he's supposedly getting paid. Even though I tell him to text me when he's here, he still continues to call me. Hold on a second. Herb, are you here?
I'm here in front of the boat.
Okay. All right. We'll send somebody down. All right. There he goes. All right. We need to go get Herb. Good luck, Alexa. All right. But so this is he stopped playing so he could play one more year. This is going to be the last year of professional, and it really is professional football now. This is going to be the last year he plays, other than maybe Arena or CFL, which I even doubt about that. So if this kid now is trying to make the most money that he can, really, this is his last year of earning power as an athlete. If you can make $100,000 transferring to some school, then I don't blame him at all. It's $100,000, right?
Oh, go get your money.
Go get your money.
Big believer in that.
I don't know enough to know if he's worth that much money. He was 3-0, and if you're a booster in some Fresno State or Washington State or Temple or something like that, or is there enough money for NILs? Because honestly, now with these schools, and you saw Woj leave ESPN, and now he goes to St. Bonaventure for basketball. They're looking at him as a fundraiser. Because they know they need money to field teams. This is a professional league now. Kids are getting paid. There's payrolls. Now you have payrolls for college teams, basketball, women's basketball. So makes things different. That's for sure. But I'll be curious to see how this plays out, because it's not like this isn't a prized quarterback that there's going to be a bidding war over him. But he may get a couple colleges if I just wonder what the price is for a guy like this.
So
Matt Luka.
By the way, diving a little bit deeper into the backup quarterback situation at UNLV. So the next man up seems to be Haj Malik Williams, who was at Campbell for a couple years. He is Campbell's all-time passing leader and touchdown leader, dual threat quarterback who put up some really big numbers against Deion's Jackson State team a couple of seasons ago. A lot of UNLV fans seem pretty excited about the opportunity of this guy being the next quarterback up.
So here's what we're going to do on Philly with John Marks. UNLV has now become our team that we root for and follow.
Nope.
Stott, listen, you can do your Penn State stuff or whatever, but Bryson Stott wearing the UNLV helmet in the locker room, I thought was pretty cool because he's from Vegas. So, at least with me and maybe our viewers in our chat there, we can root for UNLV.
That'll be my P5 or my non P5 team.
Yeah, you can have a second team. Why can't you have a second team?
I guess you could.
Yeah.
I don't have a second team.
I don't have any team. That's what I'm saying. Give me UNLV. I went to Temple. Why would I root for?
You hardly have a first team.
I don't have a first team. That's what I'm saying. Al Golden. I became a big Temple fan when Al Golden became coach. I thought he did a really good job, and then obviously with Matt Rule. But
so trust tree here. When Penn State hired James Franklin,
yeah,
I wanted them to hire Al Golden. That's who I wanted as Penn State's head coach. At the time, I thought it made sense. Clearly, James Franklin,
would not have been a good hire.
We could have the million-hour conversation about James Franklin, but James Franklin was a better hire than Al Golden would have been. I think we can agree upon that.
Oh, Al Golden would not have worked.
That at the time, that's who I wanted to be the next head coach.
Yeah, Al Golden did not do a good job in Miami. He was back. I don't even know where he's doing right now. He was back being a positional coach. He was with the Lions at one point, I remember. But anyway, all right, Herb should be coming up here in a second. Let's talk about Dr. Glatt. And I finally sent the picture to Tyler. Glatt hair restoration. Here's the before and after picture that I've been talking about. So, like, Tyler talks about his hairline and how the hairline's going back or whatever, which is very typical of men that are at 30 years old, maybe even a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. But you can see the hairline. In that picture, actually, I was probably 35 in that picture. So I'm still a handsome man. My hair was, it was short, wasn't shaved buzz, but you can see the hairline, right? And you can see it right there. That's me with my youngest daughter just 3 years ago. And you can see what it looks like right now. That's Glatt hair restoration. If you want your hair back, man, keep it simple, stupid. My whole life is trying to keep things simple. And if you want your hair back, there is not a place you should go other than Glatt hair restoration. Now part of the Morgenstern Center, under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Dr. Ken Morgenstern. Same approach, same state-of-the-art location, same results. And Dr. Glatt's hair team, and these are the people that I've known for years now. Each member brings 30-plus years of industry experience. So hair restoration is all they do. They just don't have the technology, and they don't buy the technology and say, hey, we're doing hair restoration. They've actually been doing this for over 3 decades, and you see it in the results. You do. And it's not just about hair restoration, leading edge treatments for prevention and restoration, maintenance. Like I go through maintenance phases to make sure that it's still full and thick, right? Non-invasive treatments, vitamin supplementation, which is used by a lot of women these days, oral and topical medications, PRP and stem cell restoration, which I've had. That's good for this part of the head. And then, of course, the hair restoration surgery, which I've had. So complimentary one-on-one consultation. Come in the office and they say, hey, here's what I think you should do. Go over everything else. Glatt hair is not just about restoration, it's about innovation. So change your hair and change your life. Bald is now optional. You want your hair back? Call them today. Speak to the hair team. 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. Or the website's Glatt's Hair, G-L-A-T hair, MCTR.com. GlattHairMCTR.com. Well, there you go. Herb has called me again while he was doing the read. Which is, it takes you inside of Herb that he doesn't.
Do you think Herb can tell us about Rugged Road? Do you think he'd be good at that?
I don't think Herb is at the right building. Like when Sean Brace came in here last week, he was in the 7th floor of the wrong building.
Oh.
Like, we're at the 7th floor. I was waiting for him. I'm like, dude, I think you're in the wrong building. He's like, I think I'm in the wrong building.
Well, the good news about our building is if you go up any further, you're going to end up on the roof with the bees. So you went too far if you end up with the bees.
Something tells me Herb is not in the proper location. But maybe we can give him a cooler from Rugged Road. How about this? Dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. So camping, hiking, fishing. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers, they float upright. That's right. So if you have a drink in there, maybe a can of beer that's open, never lose the drink. And unlike those other heavy-duty coolers, they're incredibly light, so you can transport them easy without compromising on your performance, and they're crafted to handle the toughest environments. They're built to last, and they'll keep up with any adventure, all right? They're guaranteed to keep your contents cool for up to 7 days, but even longer than that. All right, so check them out. Get one, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road's your ultimate outdoor companion, ruggedroadoutdoors.com. If you use the code PHLY, 10% off. No, why am I whispering? You could tell everybody that. RuggedRoadOutdoors.com. The code PHLY will save you 10% off. Who doesn't need a good cooler? Seriously, a good cooler, Tyler. And I have in my garage is a mess. But I have one really, really good cooler that can keep stuff cold for probably like the 7 days.
Okay.
It's a good cooler. It's also like this big. And it's not something that you can take around easily. It's for the backyard barbecue where you're putting everything in it. It's not good for transport. I could never take that out on even tailgating. If I was going to a game, I'd never take that. But all the other coolers that I have, crap, total crap. I need one of these.
You do?
I do.
Well, especially too, like if you don't have the beer fridge in the garage or wherever like that the second fridge, the old fridge that used to be your fridge.
Right.
where you keep everything cold and it keeps it kind of cold at least. That was at my mom's house. We used to have a second fridge.
I have one in the garage.
In the garage.
I do.
That it still worked, but it wasn't the fridge in the not in the living room. Gosh, if you put your fridge in the living room, you got other issues. In the kitchen, the fridge in the garage was like pseudo cold.
Yeah,
and you put some beer in there. And,
it's like 38 degrees.
Yeah,
not 34
some like
degrees.
non-perishables and stuff like that.
Yeah, it keeps them cool, like a nice cool one. As they said in. No, hold on a second. And we got Herb. No, I don't want to be on there. Maybe he's coming up. It's ringing.
Yeah, we're in the elevator.
All right, buddy. All right, all right. Use the bathroom. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye. There he is. Yeah, Herb's been in the car for like an hour and a half. So
yeah, and he's gonna get like 10 minutes on the air.
Right. And by the way, I have to go to the bathroom too, so I know exactly how he feels. Especially he's a little bit of an older man. He probably has some prostate issues. Right. I know that like with me, I constantly have to go to the bathroom. It's quite embarrassing, honestly. I am like, if I have to drive an hour, I know where every Wawa and Starbucks is to have to go to the bathroom in the area. And the Starbucks bathroom is much better than the Wawa bathrooms.
Well, the what's it? Self-understanding is like one of the steps.
That's what they say.
Something
Correct.
like that.
And by the way, I've been to a doctor about this. It's just because I'm getting old, and this is what you do when you get old. It stinks. All right. So while we wait for Herb, let me put this out there. The Eagles are 2-point favorites. I do not like the Eagles in this game at all. With the injuries that they're having, I hope they're not trying to get A.J. Brown or Devontae back. Lane really shouldn't play. And as well as Fred Johnson came in relief, now you're going to have a defense in Todd Bowles, and Todd Bowles is a very good coach. Now you're going to have Todd Bowles that is now saying like, hey, we're going to go after the right side of this line. And that's a lot different than Fred Johnson coming in and doing a good job in relief. And I just think this is one of these really tough games, second week in a row where you're on the road. And remember this too. The Saints were coming off a big emotional win over the Cowboys, and the Eagles had a really bad loss to the Falcons. And everybody thought the Eagles were going to lose down in New Orleans, and they ended up winning. Saints came up, Eagles responded, Saints didn't play well, their offense didn't play well. Now this week, the Eagles are coming off a very emotional win down in New Orleans against the Saints, and the Bucs, meanwhile, lost on their home field. Who did they lose to again? A bad team.
Denver.
By Bo Nix. We wrote the eulogy for Bo Nix in Denver, and they go down and they win. So it's the exact same thing. They're coming off a bad loss. The Eagles are coming off a big emotional win. I just think it's a bad spot for the Eagles this week.
So you and I talked about this, and I said my thought process behind the Saints game and the Bucs game is they were going to split those two games, and I wasn't sure which was going to be which. And I ended up leaning they were going to lose to the Saints and beat the Bucs. Now they beat the Saints. Again, like you said, the Bucs just got beat pretty handedly by a bad football team on their own field.
Right.
The guy that innately worries me on this Bucs offense is Chris Godwin. Especially with Chris Godwin in the slot, knowing how he kind of feasts on some safeties and some nickel corners, third
Herb's
corners.
calling me. So can someone grab him from is he in the building, Herb?
He's here.
Just walk down and tell him to come up here. This is for people that don't know who Herb. This is Herb.
Sure. I think that I would probably tend to agree with you between a bounce back win for Tampa.
Close game. I think this is a close, ugly game.
Like last week we talked about it, and I said I'm taking the Eagles with the points, and I think the Saints win the game. So I thought it was going to be a very close game, but the Eagles cover. They end up winning the game, which is great. I think that the inverse could necessarily, could be true, where it's a close game. The Bucs end up winning the game. You come out of this 1-1. It's not the worst place to be, but if you want to establish yourself as one of the premier teams in the conference,
you want to be 3-1. When you looked at the first 4 games before the beginning of the season, you said 3-1 at worst, and then you got to actually play the games. But I'm like you. I kind of look at the season at 4 games at a time. Sure. And you can do wins and losses, but I kind of group them like, all right, they'll go 3-1 during these next 4, or they'll go 2-2. Because like you said, if they lose to the Saints, they're not losing to the Bucs. If they beat the Saints,
they might lose.
They
to
might
the Bucs.
lose to the Bucs,
right.
And that's just the nature of sports, and that's the nature of the week-to-week NFL. So Not.
I will say this though. I know the Bucs are also a little bit banged up on the offensive line. I believe they had an injury to one of their guards. I was just looking at the Bucs injury report, and I think a couple of guys didn't practice yesterday. Now, granted, it's Wednesday, so it's a long way away. But like Mike Evans was limited, he's going to play. Chris Godwin is limited, he's going to play. Bucky Irving was limited, he's going to play. But the question becomes like, does Kalijah Cansey play? Does Antoine Winfield play? Does there's some injury news for them as well. So I don't know. I don't have a feel for this game at all, other than what I said last week. And I think they're going to go 1-1.
Right.
My gut would tell me they don't win this one, but I don't know at this point.
But I also I wouldn't be shocked if they won.
Sure.
Right. Like this, they could win this game, and I'd be like, oh, that's a good win. But if you're asking me right now, who would I pick in the game? This just feels like one of these games where the Bucs have the kind of the momentum to win the game. Herb from Northeast Philly joins us now in studio. What do you got on there, Herb? You're looking. Did you lose some weight? You're looking great. Yeah. So Herb, you want to bring this over? Here you go. Right there. Bring the microphone closer to you. Look at you. Got the slick back hair. Did you just get a freshie? Did Nikki Fox give you a fresh haircut?
I just had my hair cut a couple of days ago,
What's going on, Herb?
Nothing, just back in Philly,
So what are you wearing? What's the outfit today?
This is the Lacoste, green and white.
So you got the jumpsuit on, like a big pussy in Sopranos, and then you have a Ryan Howard shirt.
Yeah, celebrating the Phillies.
Wow, look at you. Now, for people that don't know, Herb is very much, he is a baseball guy. He's a football guy too, but he's a baseball guy. If you're watching in Northeast Philadelphia, you may recognize Herb. He is a legend in Northeast Philly. I've met many people that have been like, oh, I know Herb. He's been umpiring our games for years. You're a well-known umpire who Tyler Zuli, Herb in there, he's my producer. He's a big baseball guy. Herb actually went to umpiring school in Florida.
I'm thinking about it. We played a lot of games in Northeast Philly. We might have had you at some point.
Yep. He went to Harry Wendelstadt's umpiring school because he was trying to be a professional umpire at one point. Right, Herb?
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, Herb also would be the guy that would try to show up the batter with strikeouts and things like that, right? You had a very loud called strike three.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. Well, so Herb, how was Brazil, buddy?
I had a great time. It was a long flight, 17,000 miles up and back.
And you spent 10 days there.
I spent more. Well, it was we flew on overnight, Labor Day night. I flew over to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Sao Paulo. It was about 9.5 hours. We arrived like 5.
So you're saying we? Did you take the trip alone, or
there was some
went with
Eagle
the fan
fans.
group?
There was other I went on myself because I used to do these trips years ago, back when Buddy Ryan was the coach,
Right.
And I went alone, and we flew into Sao Paulo about 5:30 in the morning, cleared customs. I was at my hotel with all the traffic from the airport into the downtown Sao Paulo. I was about a couple hours,
All right. Now, were you assaulted or robbed, or were there any criminal acts done towards you?
No,
There's a lot of talk about that. Wasn't dangerous.
You saw a few people on the street. There was a few in different areas. There was, homeless sleeping, just like any other city. In Rio de Janeiro, when I got there was a few panhandlers outside my hotel.
You can walk outside and get that here, so that's fine. Now, Herb, did you meet any Brazilian ladies? Because we know you have the gift of gab. I've seen you at Chiggy's and Pete's and places like that.
I've seen a few people, but I mean,
you didn't get lucky.
No, I didn't get lucky. But a lot of them people, you got to speak Brazilian, like
Portuguese. Yes,
Portuguese.
You don't speak Portuguese.
So, nah.
So you had a good time?
Had a good time.
Good.
Yeah.
How's your health doing, Herb?
I feel good.
We haven't talked in a while. Like I said, you look like
2 weeks of relaxed vacation.
Yeah.
I didn't drink anything or whatever. I just relaxed and
any drugs?
Sat at the pool and stuff. And
no drugs?
No drugs,
Good.
no nothing.
Good. That's good. All right. Well, we had a bunch of stuff planned. We had Ask Herb segment planned. I know you believe me, you left early enough. There was just a bad accident on 95.
Yeah.
And you ran into that.
Yeah, I went off. I got over to Torresdale, took Torresdale to Harbison, and then got back on when I started seeing the cars up on 95 were moving. So I said, let me get back on there and see what I can do. So
you figured it out, Herb.
Finally,
you got it done. You got it done. All right. Well, we have a couple questions here because people have been like, listen, they still hear you on the radio, calling it on the radio, but this is a much more intimate setting when you sit here with me and we can have.
This is nice.
Do you like it? Isn't it nice?
Oh yeah.
See, I told you.
This is cool.
I told you this is big time.
This reminds me of what I see on ESPN. What's his name? The kicker.
The kicker.
The guy used to kick.
Pat McAfee.
Huh?
Pat McAfee. All right.
Yeah,
Well, he's a punter.
McAfee. Reminds me of that.
The McAfee. You like the McAfee show?
I watch it once in a while.
Yeah, they use the F word on the McAfee show a lot somehow.
I know.
Which is crazy. All right. Well, Herb, if you could go on a date with any woman or man in the world, who would it be? This is Ask Herb. We got to try to jam some of these things in there. Anybody in the world, Herb.
Anybody in the world.
Who would it be? It could be somebody that is deceased, if you wanted to, in their prime. Well, didn't you?
I wouldn't mind going out with what's her name? Taryn Hatcher. How's that?
We might be able to arrange that. I can see. I think she's spoken for.
She's
but
pretty cute. Yeah.
We could always do that. That's a good answer. I like that answer. That's good. If you were stranded on an island and only could have one thing to eat and one thing to drink, what would it be?
One thing to eat, I would go for some linguine.
So you're on a desert island, linguine and a Pepsi, or what's your drink of choice?
Yeah, Pepsi or Diet Pepsi, and
Diet Pepsi.
Maybe a beer or something.
A beer.
Corona.
A Corona. That's a good answer.
Corona is my favorite beer.
Do you put a lime in it, or you like it without lime?
Yeah, lime's good.
Because I can't drink it without a lime.
Doesn't matter.
I like Corona, but only with a lime. Herb, I know you have some opinions on the Eagles. For people that don't know, Herb very much, he mentioned Buddy Ryan, is an old school football guy. Your philosophy on offense is run the ball. You like fullbacks running the ball. You like power running, and then playing defense, lots of blitzes, correct?
Yeah, but I like to also mix up the pass.
So run the ball and pass the ball.
Keep the defense guessing what they're not sure if you're going to run, you're going to pass, you're going to throw a screen pass. You got the tight end catching. What I like what they did this past weekend was Goddard finally got in and got open, and you didn't have to throw anything, crazy where he was wide open there, and he just catches it and runs right down the field. And that's what they need to do. They need to get him in open areas where he can perform and run the ball, run 50 or 60 yards down the field. There's a few other guys, they're going this week. It looks like Smitty and Brown's going to be out again. So
it looks that way. Now the big story this week with Eagles fans is they hate Nick Sirianni, and even though the Eagles won, they still want Sirianni gone. Do you feel the same way, or do you have confidence in Nick Sirianni, Herb?
I think what we easily could be 3-0 because of that Atlanta game, and my philosophy is doesn't matter if you're home or if you're away. The first half, you got to put up some points. I don't care if you go down the field 50 yards, 75 yards, whatever it is, and you get down inside the red zone, you get down to the 10 or the 5, whatever, and
you would have kicked field goals as opposed to going for it.
Yeah, if it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, I'm not taking a chance, okay? I'm going to go kick the field goal, get the points on the board.
And Herb, hang on a second. Just want to thank the diehards out there. Shout out to the diehards. Thank you very much, everybody out there. But yeah, so you're taking the points and everything else. Now, Herb, we needed some more time with you today because it was going to take you a little bit of time to get warmed up here and comfortable because this is, you got cameras looking at you. You're before a live studio audience and everything else. So we needed to get you warmed up here for a second, so you got comfortable. All right, but we can do another couple minutes here, but we're kind of out of time.
Right.
So what's going on with your love life right now?
Nothing.
Anything?
I'm just working right now down to Wells Fargo, and
You're driving?
yeah. Well, we have this new system now that the buses that we had, we're not using them. They're going to sell 2 of them, and then we're using electric vehicles, all electric. It's like a small golf cart that's enclosed.
You're driving golf carts around, Herb?
Yeah, it's like an all electric. It looks like
So
a
Herb
golf-
drives
it looks like a
Wells
golf
Fargo's
cart.
employees from a lot, NovaCare lot, and then
No, the NovaCare's done now.
so he's driving employees over at the Wells Fargo
Everybody
Center.
is
I know it's
parking
dynamite
in
content.
H lot.
H lot.
Everybody's parking in H lot.
Oh, so you don't have that far to drive.
And we just, we only got to go like a half a block right up to the security where they walk in and go through security and drop them off, go back to the handicap zone. It's basically for people that can't walk or have a problem, pregnant. We had another day.
I gotcha.
We had a pregnant girl, so I said, get in, we'll take you.
Yeah, you're helping out the people that need a little bit of help. What kind of kicks you got there? Herb spends lots of money
These are
on his
new
retire.
ones that I bought about a month or
can't see
so
'em, but,
ago.
yeah.
Under Armours, they're the new thing out. They go for $129. You can find
You spare
them,
no expense with stuff.
Find them up at the Under Armour store, King of Prussia.
I go to the outlets for my
It's
stuff.
got like this one has this little button that opens it up to the left, and then you tighten it up. You don't have to tie you don't have to tie
It's
your
like
laces.
modern day Velcro.
It's a new thing out.
Wow.
See
Well,
it?
you look dynamite,
Yeah.
Herb.
Take a picture of that, man.
Well,
See that, huh?
that's okay. I'm not going to do that.
Cool.
All right, everybody, have a great one. Herb, I wish we had more time, but like I said,
I like to talk about Brazil. That's know what I mean.
You showed up at like 8:45.
Yeah, I know.
There was
Well,
traffic. What else you want to say
week,
about
maybe.
Brazil? What
Next
else you
week.
want to say about Brazil?
Well,
Were
I
you
went up to
recognized
Rio
by
de
Eagles fans?
Janeiro. I went to Rio de Janeiro on the 8th. They somehow I was supposed to be on an earlier flight, and they put my bag. I wound up.
Oh, you want to
taking
talk about the
2:30,
mundane
they locked
details?
up my-
Yeah, we're not.
Locked up my bag for an hour and a half.
Were you
I finally got there.
Were you recognized by Eagles fans? Were you signing any autographs?
I saw a bunch of Eagle fans on the street.
Were there any women? Did you sign any body
I
parts?
saw
or?
a few of them. You know what I mean. But there was in my section where I was sitting in the end zone.
Right.
There was a lot of Green Bay fans around my area.
Did you fight any?
There was some Eagle fans. Nah, I didn't bother with it.
All right.
It was a bit. It was the stadium had good points and bad points,
Right.
and it was more bad points than good points.
So overall, was it a good vacation? Was it a good place to see
it was. And then once I got out of there and went to Rio, got to be a little nicer, and I got
And
to
you
go
enjoyed yourself.
visit a few different places. I went up to the Christ statue up on the mountain. That was I got a lot of pictures from that, and
All right. Well, listen, this is why you need your own podcast, because this is dynamite content for that. I would love to hear it. But as it stands, Herb, our time is gone for today.
no problem.
So we want to thank everybody out there. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock again. Subscribe to YouTube. Just search PHLY Sports. And also make sure that you're following us on Twitter, on social medias, at John Jon Marks MARKS Media. Comment, like. The podcast goes up right about now. So if you want to listen to the audio version of this, that's how you get it. Everybody, say goodbye to Herb. Herb, wave bye. See
Go
ya.
Eagles. Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.